Are our lives guided by destiny, or do we shape our paths through choices? It's a question that's haunted humanity and storytelling for centuries. From ancient myths to modern epics, the clash between fate and free will is one of the most compelling conflicts in fiction. Storytellers have wrestled with this question for centuries, weaving it into narratives that captivate and challenge us. It's a tension that shapes the arcs of heroes and villains alike, forcing them and us to grapple with the forces we can't control and the decisions we can. Let's explore how this timeless conflict creates unforgettable stories and why it resonates so deeply with us all. How does an author explore the themes of free will and fate? This is a tricky question, as by nature, none of the characters within a story are free to make their own choices. They are, of course, instruments of the author for the story to flow as intended. As a result, no fictional character can ever truly be free. Their life is bound to their destiny decided upon by the author. However, I would argue that the magic of storytelling lies in how an author creates an illusion of free will within a structured narrative. Through conflicts, decisions, and consequences that their characters face, authors invite us to question whether destiny shapes the individual or if the individual shapes destiny. Fate, on the other hand, is done repeatedly in novels. And if you're a fan of the fantasy genre, there's one literary trope that is used above all others when wishing to design a challenge of fate. And that, of course, is the writing of the prophecy. So let's begin with a favorite IP of the channel, Harry Potter.
The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. And the Dark Lord shall mark him as his equal, but he shall have power the Dark Lord knows.
The prophecy revealed to Harry in Order of the Phoenix is one of the series' most explicit acknowledgments of fate. At first glance, it seems to cement Harry's destiny. He is the chosen one, marked by forces beyond his control to confront Voldemort. For readers, this confirmation ties together clues planted in earlier books, but for Harry, it's a terrifying revelation. A teenager barely beginning to understand his own place in the wizarding world is now confronted with the brutal reality that his fate is on a collision course with the darkest wizard of his age, a battle that will end in either Voldemort's death or his own. But what makes this trope truly engaging in Harry Potter is the unexpected wrinkle Dumbledore adds to the nature of fate itself. In a pivotal moment, Dumbledore reframes the prophecy not as an inescapable decree, but as something given power by choice. Prophecies, he explains, only hold weight for those who believe in them. It's Voldemort's obsessive interpretation of Trelawney's words that set everything in motion. By marking Harry as his equal, Voldemort fulfills the very prophecy he seeks to control. This revelation sets up a fascinating dichotomy between two of J.K. Rowling's most central characters as they become foils of one another. Tom Riddle, the slave of fate, and Harry Potter, a champion of free will. Voldemort's obsession with control is a cruel irony. A man terrified of death and determined to defy its inevitability becomes shackled by his belief in destiny. His obsession with death and the prophecy drives every major decision he makes, from murdering Harry's parents to splitting his soul into Horcruxes. These acts, born of fear and his thirst for power, lock him into a fate he unwittingly constructs for himself. In his efforts to transcend mortality, Voldemort becomes a prisoner of his own fate. Each of his decisions tether him further to the very fate he seeks so desperately to avoid. A fate he unknowingly chose to act upon on the information that was incomplete brought to him by Severus Snape. In contrast, Harry's story is defined by his unwavering commitment to free will. Even within the framework of destiny that seems predetermined, Harry consistently makes choices rooted in love, courage, and justice. His decision to be sorted into Gryffindor, a rejection of the influence of Voldemort's soul within him, to his defiance of oppressive systems like the Ministry of Magic, Harry asserts agencies in ways that transcend his chosen one label. But nowhere is this choice more evident than in his ultimate confrontation with death. When Harry walks into the Forbidden Forest, he chooses to face Voldemort, not because of a prophecy, but because of the values he holds dear. The safety of his friends, the hope for a better world, and the understanding that some things are worth dying for and that death is not the end. In that moment, Harry transforms his supposed destiny into a conscious act of sacrifice, reclaiming control over even the terms of his death. Together, Voldemort and Harry offer two opposing philosophies on fate and free will. One clings to control and becomes its prisoner. The other embraces and transcends even the darkest of destinies. This interplay makes Harry Potter more than just a tale of good versus evil. It's a meditation on how much power we truly have over our own lives and what we choose to do with it. If there's one anime that thrives on tension between destiny and self-determination, it's Naruto. In fact, it was a tension that almost brought the series to its knees. From the very beginning, Naruto Uzumaki's life seems steeped in fate. Though he does not know it, he is the reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths, the god of the ninja world's son, Ashura, and the host of the Nine-Tailed Fox. On top of that, he is the son of a legendary Hokage and later revealed to be the child of prophecy, a figure foretold to either save or destroy the ninja world. But is Naruto a story bound by the shackles of destiny? Is there any metric of free will in Kishimoto's masterpiece? It's a difficult question, and one that really starts to appear with regularity during the Chunin exam arc. Naruto's battle with Neji in the Chunin exams is one of the earliest and most direct confrontations with the idea of fate. Neji, burdened by the rigid hierarchy of the Hyuga clan, sees himself as a prisoner of destiny. To him, a person's future is dictated by their birth and innate qualities, and no amount of effort can change that. This philosophy directly opposes Naruto's ethos of hard work and defying expectations. The fight serves as a pivotal moment for Naruto. Not only does he prove Neji wrong by defeating him with sheer determination and ingenuity, but he also delivers a passionate rebuttal to Neji's fatalistic worldview. Naruto insists that people can break free from the shackles of destiny, just as he, the dead last orphan, fights to surpass the genius elites of his generation. However, while this moment is thematically powerful, it introduces a problem that lingers throughout the series: Naruto's lineage. At this point in the story, Naruto is presented as an underdog, a nobody with no inherent gifts, struggling to carve his place in the world. But later, revelations about his heritage and his status as the child of prophecy complicate the message of this fight. If Naruto's greatness was always tied to his lineage and destiny, does it undermine his earlier claims about the power of effort and defying fate? This tension between the underdog narrative and Naruto's eventual acceptance of his prophetic role creates a fascinating but imperfect dynamic. On one hand, Naruto continues to push back against fate throughout the series. His decision to pursue peace with Sasuke, for example, flies in the face of the world's expectations, as does his relentless belief in redeeming even the seemingly most irredeemable people, like Obito. These moments reinforce Naruto's philosophy that choice, not birthrights or prophecies, have the capacity to define a person. On the other hand, Naruto's ascent to power increasingly feels tied to factors beyond his control. His enormous chakra reserve stems from being born in Uzumaki and the Nine-Tailed Host.
His rapid growth is bolstered by the guidance of legendary mentors like Jiraiya and Kakashi, who fate has decided are going to be his teachers. And his destiny as the child of prophecy begins to feel like less of a burden to overcome and more like a guarantee of greatness as the series goes on. Despite these complexities, Naruto himself continues to embody a defiance of fate. While his lineage and prophecy play significant roles in his rise, Naruto's most defining moments are driven by his own choices. His refusal to give up on Sasuke, his insistence on reforming the shinobi world, and his willingness to make sacrifices for his friends all reflect his personal values, not the demands of destiny. In the end, Naruto's story is one of triumph, not just over villains, but over the idea that we are bound by the circumstances of our birth. His journey is an interesting mix of fate versus free will, as while fate may set the stage, it's our choices that write the script. Naruto isn't a hero because he was destined to be one.
He's a hero because he chooses time and time again to fight for a world where everyone has the freedom to choose their own path. In the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender, destiny is a recurring theme woven into the very fabric of its mythology. Aang, the Avatar, is tasked with bringing balance to the world, a role assigned to him by forces beyond his control. From the moment we meet him, he's grappling with the weight of this responsibility, torn between his duty to the world and his own desires. Yet what makes Aang's journey so powerful is his ability to navigate these pressures with a deep commitment to his personal beliefs, even when they conflict with the expectations placed upon him by his destiny. Aang is the latest at this time in a long line of avatars, reincarnated with a singular purpose of maintaining balance across the four nations. As the last Airbender and the Avatar, Aang's fate feels preordained. He must defeat the Fire Lord and end the 100-Year War. But Aang's relationship with his destiny is far from straightforward. When we first meet him, he has run away from his duties, overwhelmed by expectations thrust upon him at a young age. His reluctance humanizes him, turning what could have been a simple Chosen One narrative into a nuanced exploration of tension between duty and individuality. Throughout the series, Aang struggles to reconcile his role as the Avatar with his own values. While the world expects him to wield his power decisively and even violently, Aang's air nomad upbringing emphasizes pacifism and a respect for life. This internal conflict comes to a head in the series finale, where Aang must decide whether to kill Ozai and fulfill his prophecy, or find another way to restore balance. A free will push. Much like Naruto, Avatar uses its characters to explore different perspectives on fate. Aang's foil for the majority of the series is Prince Zuko, a character whose life is also shaped by destiny. Banished by his father and tasked with capturing the Avatar to restore his honor, Zuko begins the series as another slave to fate. His every action is dictated by his desire to reclaim his place in the Fire Nation. But Zuko's arc is a powerful rebuttal to the idea that fate is fixed. Over the course of the series, Zuko begins to question the path laid out for him. Ultimately, he's choosing to forge his own destiny. His decision to join Team Avatar and fight against his father represents a triumph of free will over the constraints of his upbringing. Together, Aang and Zuko illustrate how destiny can be either a burden or an opportunity, depending on how it is approached. The culmination of Aang's story is a masterclass in balance between fate and free will. All signs point to a single inevitable conclusion. Aang must kill Fire Lord Ozai to end the war. Even his past lives, including Avatar Roku and Yang Chen, all urge him to set aside his personal beliefs and embrace his duty. Yet Aang refuses to betray his principles, seeking a way to fulfill his role as the Avatar without compromising his identity. This leads to one of the series' most profound but arguably controversial moments. Aang's use of energy bending to strip Ozai of his power. It's a solution no one expects, and one that allows Aang to honor both his destiny and his deeply held values. And in doing so, Aang transforms his role as Avatar from a symbol of violence and power into one of compassion and ingenuity, all done through his choices. Aang's journey reflects the idea that destiny is not a rigid path, but a framework within which individuals can make their own choices. While Aang is undeniably shaped by his role as the Avatar, he consistently demonstrates how he fulfills that role is entirely up to him. This aligns with the concept of soft determinism, the idea that while certain events may be inevitable, the choices we make within those constraints are what truly defines us. Zuko's story adds another layer to this exploration, showing that even those born into seemingly inescapable circumstances can choose to rewrite their fate. His transformation from vengeful prince to self-aware leader underscores the power of choice in overcoming even the most deeply ingrained patterns. In the end, Avatar: The Last Airbender is a story about balance, not just between elements, nations, or ideologies, but between fate and free will. Aang and Zuko's journeys remind us that while destiny may set the stage, it is our choices, guided by our values, that determine the shape of our lives. In this way, Avatar offers one of the most thoughtful and resonant meditations on fate and free will in modern storytelling. While I personally picked IPs I'm passionate about for this video, the idea of fate versus free will is everywhere, and while some authors choose to view fate versus free will as two ends of a vast spectrum, others remind us that fate and free will aren't mutually exclusive. Instead, they coexist, creating tension, growth, and resolution. The question of whether or not mankind has any influence over their own fates will never lose its captivating appeal. And so I suppose my final question for this video is aimed at you, the viewer. Where do you stand on the issue of fate versus free will? And are you comfortable with that? I'd be very interested in reading your responses in the comment section below. And before you go, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more video essays, reviews, and reflections on storytelling. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, peace.